Great. Excellent. I think we are streaming. So thanks to everyone for joining another episode of the OpenJS Foundation's Cross-Project Council meeting. Oh, interesting. It says that this video is private. That may be something to look into, Ben.
It's often buried anyhow on YouTube, and I have to we have to manually move it anyhow. So we'll do some housekeeping.
It's unusual. I usually, start the stream, put a little comment in, get the ball rolling. But this is the first time I've seen this. So we'll look at that later. So I'm not sure if we're actually streaming or not, but regardless, we'll get the.
I see us live on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
It's streaming. I can see it.
Cool. Well, great. So moving on. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Today's the 8th of August, and we got a pretty full agenda. We'll start a few minutes late for a quick chat to get the party started. How about we start with announcements? Claudio, you got stuff to talk about? Where's the button? Let me see if I can unmute you if that's what you're looking for. No, that's the ask to unmute.
I know what he's going to say.
I am still muted.
There you go.
It's what I always say. I was muted both on software and on my mixer. So I was muting myself on mixer, and then I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then I realized I've forgotten some. Yeah, I do have an announcement. So Node.js Collaborator Summit registrations are up. All the information is available on the issue that is linked, I linked today on Slack on Node.js Core, and also on the Collab Summit channel. But if any of you here don't have it, I'd be more than happy to also drop on the Zoom chat in a few seconds.
It's also on LinkedIn if you're following Node.js on LinkedIn.
It's also on Twitter and LinkedIn. That's right.
Yep.
Cool. Excellent. Exciting. Anything else? Any other announcements? No. Board meeting updates? Nothing from the board. Great.
We've actually got I'd say one update from the board, but it's covered in one of the issues lower. So we'll just wait for that.
Okay.
And quiz, when we meet third Friday every month. So quiz.
All right, we all passed.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, we'll touch on that one when it gets down to that agenda item. The first item on the agenda, though, is issue 1128. This is updated OpenJS Foundation tiered marketing offers.
Yes,
offerings.
and Kylie can join the second half of this meeting. So if we could table that into the half past the hour, then she can cover that.
I'm going to actually just remove it and put it down here at the bottom. And then I won't forget. Cool. Next up, somebody really helpfully looked at our reminders and stuff and is reminding us that we are again late on elections. Yay! Elections. So we need to get this going. I see there's a bunch of comments here. Ben, do you have can you summarize?
Yeah, I think there's a couple positions that I think I can help with the nomination process and the actual voting, and then there's a couple I think that are handled within internally. So maybe Joe, I can work with you on which ones need my help and which ones I can help with the nomination process and voting, and which ones are just handled via internal CPC processes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you and I can find some time real soon, get this sorted, you can get the ball rolling. I don't know if there's even like changes that were suggested. Maybe Toby, I don't know if you know in any of the simplification of things, but I guess we don't really need to worry about that right now, as we just need to stick with what we have. Cool.
Yeah, I just had a small request, which was there was a really nice plan. Like it was really well organized last time. Thank you, Ben. Like I must say. And looking back at the issue, it mentioned that like the intention was to publish the answers of like the different candidates somewhere, and I'm not sure that this happened or didn't, or what that like how that ended up happening. And it would be great. I think it would be great if those were actually public, and you know, shared like in an issue or something. And I don't know how you want to manage this, Ben, but like however you want to manage it seems reasonable. And so if
Okay.
as long as like they end up in a public issue, a public place of sorts, like I'm happy.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
my only
that's
request.
no problem.
Cool. All right, great. So we'll work on that real soon. Next up is issue 1122. And we've actually, I'm really happy about this issue because a lot of the stuff has been around for a long time, but a working session we had a few weeks ago, we were able to kind of pull together what the plan is. And thanks again, Toby, for really laying it all out as such. So we're making some progress on this. I think there's even a pull request open that I don't think is on the agenda. Let me just double check here. Nope. So if folks get a moment, the newest pull request 1135 is update structure, nomination, and processes of the code of conduct team. So there's been lots of progress here, and we have a plan. So that is fantastic. If folks get a chance to look at that PR, it's I think in draft state still, but we can start to move some of the pieces forward and get some progress.
It's very drafty right
Okay.
now. There's a bunch that you opened that I think could be probably merged actually, and it would be good if we did.
That I opened.
Yeah, you opened too.
Are you talking about pull requests?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine are largely closed except for one of the action items was to remove the code of conduct column from the table on the CPC README, which I did. There's a PR open for that. And then you know, that's another checklist item. So yeah, if folks can take a look at the draft PR and such, and also, you know, Toby laid this out really well. If anybody wants to help move the stuff along, that would be greatly appreciated too. Take a look through here, reach out to Toby or myself for any questions, and we can keep things moving. That would be great. Any comments, questions, thoughts? No? Okay. I'm just taking a quick note there. Cool. All right, so we will move along. I added this to the agenda, so I get the great privilege of welcoming Adrian to the CPC. Thanks, Adrian, as end user director and all the stuff you do in the community. I'm super excited that you're here.
Well, thank you very much for the welcome. It was basically due. Since I was elected, I needed to catch up with all the CPC. I had to read a lot and go over the whole process. Basically, I promise I will take care of all my duties as a end user director, and I will attend as many meetings as possible for me. I also have a couple of proposals currently at work. I will be sending some pull requests soon to discuss a couple of initiatives that I want to promote. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Great. Yeah, thank you for joining. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, whatever.
Yeah, for those watching who didn't catch that, Adrian is also on the board of directors. We have an end user board seat that is elected by our members, and Adrian holds that seat. Pretty awesome.
That's great. Cool. So moving on, the next item is issue 1110. This is something that I opened up on June 27th, and I actually opened it not realizing that we had, just forgetting that we had working groups and collab spaces. And so there is some work to be done if we want to standardize on collab spaces, which I think was the consensus. And I asked a couple weeks ago for, objections or comments. So if there aren't any, then we will move forward on the steps to standardize on collab spaces and have just essentially one type of SIG or working group or whatever you want to call it. So I will try to work on this sometime soon. Or if anybody else wants to take a look or pair with me, just let me know. We'll make some progress there. Cool.
I mean, if we have agreement, I'm just going to go ahead and click on a bunch of those of those like to-do items in the to-do list.
Yeah, please. And thank you.
Have we, I don't know if we put this on the agenda at the standards working group, though. We had that discussion.
We
That's
did.
That's a
We
good
did.
point.
We did have a discussion.
We did. That's right.
I-
I'm forgetting. Did we?
I'm pretty sure that we did, but it was a long time ago. I'm gonna dig for
Look for an
the
issue, so it's, documented.
yeah, and like link it from there. But I'm pretty sure that we did, and I'm pretty sure that everyone was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you can look
But-
into that, that would be great.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, like losing track.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it was also, adjacent meetings, and it was the same folks, and
I
so
know.
now I'm no longer like, now I'm not sure.
Not same.
cool. Well, either way, let's make sure that there's awareness over there and we'll keep it.
Oh,
moving.
hey, I'm sorry. There's a code of conduct working group. Can we decide what to do with that?
Yeah, I think we should revisit that and see if that's even still needed, because I don't think that's been utilized in months, if not longer. And we just started doing it as a part of the CPC. So let's revisit
Working
that.
sessions.
Yeah.
Can we decide to close it?
I think so. If we're taking it on through the CPC working sessions and making progress, but I'm open to other ideas.
Can we make a note today that we're deciding to close it?
Sure.
Can we make this decision and like, so we can just move forward? Because if not, we're gonna have to make the decision in like, 4 weeks again.
Yeah, if you want to just create, maybe would it make sense to just make an issue and say, we'd like to move on. We've started working in a different manner, and then focus.
To answer Tierney's question, yes, this is different from the panel. I mean, like, we have to agree that we want to close it, and then we're just gonna formally close it as part of like the pull request for this thing.
Okay.
So if so I'm right. I mean, are we okay with proceeding that way? Like, is there any good reason not to close this thing?
I don't think so, because we haven't been using it.
Okay.
But I'm always open to have an issue open for people to comment if there's something that needs to be said. A lot of this work has happened, some in the CPC meetings and some in working sessions. But the structure essentially is that the CPC has been figuring out how the code of conduct process should be, as well as what the moderation team should look like. Getting away from the COCPD, whatever. I always hated that acronym. But essentially our COC moderation team, what that will look like. A lot of it is linked to in that previous issue. So that's kind of the way we've been moving forward. I think it makes sense to close that other working group.
Okay, cool.
All right. The next issue is 1106. Robin, this is the nonviolent communication and strategic workplace conflict resolution training issue. I think a couple weeks ago you said you were looking at
The Linux Foundation has been offering something quasi-similar internally I just went through both trainings. The turnout was amazing, was not mandatory, but it was a majority, I think, of employees. The first one was on psychological safety. The second one was being an ally. I think the first one was very valuable and probably relevant. Being an ally was just the importance of DEI. I think we all kind of have that. So I think my next steps, I'm going to go back to our HR team and to Dr. Chance and see what it would take to perhaps put something together for us, more along the lines of the psychological safety moderation kind of training. But yeah, I thought she was pretty fantastic. So.
Great. It's good to hear.
Mhm.
And
Is
so
there
that might be
any-
something. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is
Jim.
there any context on what happened to the one that Tracy Hines did a lot of work to get Node.js? Because I know she like did a special thing where they had a perpetual license that was like $500 a year or something for that.
Tracy was tagged and commented on the issue. I don't believe she remembered who it was.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it was documented internally because they like paid a ton of money for it.
I can go back to the old Node Foundation folders, but you know.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that thing was really useful. So
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just, I scrolled back to Tracy's comment to refresh my memory here. Okay, cool. Next on the agenda here is also for you, Robin, the easy CLA, the pseudo anonymity.
Yeah, I haven't gotten, yeah, I need to follow up with Andy still, so I have to bookmark that.
All right. Next one is issue 1059, requirements for projects ingesting other existing external projects. What do we decide on this? I feel like we talked about this.
Yeah, I have to circle back. I'm sorry, we've been so buried with event stuff that I think
Christian,
what
you
I may
open-
do is even have one of our legal representatives come and present here just to kind of summarize it.
Mhm.
Sometimes when we'll reach out, we'll get these very gray sort of if that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and there's no clear answer. So either we work through it with the board or a legal committee, or we spend some more time with one of our legal reps with this group, probably both, to get through it, I think would be the best approach.
Mhm.
I think someone made the case that you may have a project that has dozens of these cases. So what do? You know?
Yeah, and interestingly, Christian, you have the opposite sort of question, which I did add to the agenda.
A
at the
new
bottom.
issue.
Issue.
That's right.
So I don't know. I'm gonna move this actually up here.
You want to make it a working session with legal on this, or do we want to have some dedicated time at 2 weeks from now?
I try to avoid working with legal whenever possible.
Oh, our legal's pretty awesome.
Okay, great.
Come on, Joe. I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like it's seriously, it's faster working directly with them than like getting poor Ben in the middle of the conversation.
yeah, they just remove blockers and help us do our jobs better. So
Yeah, sure. Let's do one soon then. See what they can do. We can do an off time one if we need to or whatever. Just
okay.
see what you can figure out. We'll gather up all of our legal questions. All right, cool. And so I moved that other issue that Christian opened up right below that one. So we can copy and paste the comment for that there too. Then the next one on the list here is the JSON schema charter. I don't know if folks have had that chance to take a look at this. We have, I think, a couple of approvals from the CPC. I'm trying to scroll here. I see Jordan, Toby, myself.
Yeah, other Ben is not here today, but like they did an amazing job was moving this charter to the place it is now. And I think we should just move ahead whenever they're happy to onboard and whenever like whatever last checklist items are necessary. I don't know if there are any. We should just move forward with the onboarding, I guess.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, from a charter perspective, I think it's ready.
We do need to probably follow up and just go through our last checklist with them. I think we could do
Yeah,
that.
sounds good. Let's
Yeah.
do that. Be great to keep them moving along and get them, have all their ducks in a row, would be great. Excellent. The next item on the agenda is the simplified CPC representation. Is this, which one was that had the comments? Oh, the community board seat is the one that has the comments. So let's see, pull request 1055 is to simplify the CPC board representation, but that's all related, right, to the next one as well, opening up the community seat. So Ben, if I have this right, the board said that they're cool with things, and CPC would be, if once we approve the bylaws, it would be followed by a vote in the next board meeting.
Yep. Yeah, I put in my link from the last board meeting notes that next step is CPC approval on changes to bylaws, followed by a vote in the board meeting that follows that decision. So I think I can't see everyone in this meeting. I don't know if Sarah is here. I think Sarah Chips was also in that meeting.
Is here.
Great. So yeah, keep me honest. But yeah, there was preference for the percentage option from the board. So I think that's the one that the CPC should review. I'm happy to copy paste the exact wording wherever we want. If it's okay to put it in that GitHub issue, I can put it in there. And I think then just discussion will ensue.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we've got this PR open. So anyway, we can kind of move that forward if that means taking what was agreed upon and working it into this.
That's 1054.
Yeah, although 1055, although this is in the charter, and they were talking about the bylaws. Anyway, let's figure out how we need to move this stuff forward and then do it.
Okay, so I'll plop this in 1054 and like happy to put it elsewhere if necessary, but I think that seems like a fine spot.
Ben,
Okay.
is this the 80% proposal?
Yes, using the percentage, yes, not greater than
Is
80%.
Where is that? Because I remember looking at the slide and I just remember it from the slide.
Yeah, it's in the deck. I'll copy it out of the deck and put it in the issue.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
But was the number 80%?
Yes.
Because I mean, okay, so just because if that's the case, like I actually did the math on this, and it like doesn't change anything meaningful from the agreement that we had until we reached like something like 90 projects, right? So it's kind of like we should just go ahead and improve this because it's essentially the same thing, like for the next decade or so,
Well-
roughly at our scale.
Does
I
that
think
not?
the goal, sorry, Joe.
No, go
I
ahead,
think-
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I think the goal was at least to open up. Another option was opening the community board seat. So if you did the math and we're still have 2 board seats for the next 10 years from the CPC, is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we had collectively agreed to, I mean, the proposal that we shared was the board we agreed to, and it was based on like essentially whatever board members there were that were representative of whatever board member directors there were -1 would be the cap for CPC directors, right? and we had agreed to that. And essentially, this proposal only is like the same up until you reach something like 90 projects. So given that we had agreed to the other proposal, it's the same thing. So we have essentially already agreed to it. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
okay, I see what you're saying. Got it, yep.
I'm saying like
But you're not
basically
saying
whether
we're
it's like
limited to-
n-1 or 80% of n essentially doesn't impact us for like another 10 years.
It sounds
Roughly.
like we need to activate that third seat that's been in limbo and then move to the percentage. Is probably the step we need. Right? But that's because
No,
we
I
had-
mean, it would do the same, both do the same. I mean, all three proposals essentially open up a new seat right away.
Hmm.
That's what I was confused about.
That's-
So, okay, great.
Yeah, me too. Okay, great. Yeah, that's
No,
what
yeah,
this is.
so all three proposals open up a new seat right away. The two proposals that include board change, like bylaws change, open a fourth seat like in 5 or 6 projects. And the only way they differ is like not meaningful at any point in time right now.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the only point I'm trying to make here is we have already agreed on a proposal that is like mathematically completely similar to this one from an impact perspective. And so we don't really need to spend another 2 weeks discussing this. We could just agree, like move ahead with this so that the board can actually like move ahead too.
That sounds good to me.
Ben, you had that, I see we're both in the slide. Did you grab that already and throw it in the issue?
Yeah, I did. Hang on.
Awesome.
Copying, pasting it to chat, so folks want to read it. Sorry, it's a screenshot, but I couldn't do the formatting easily. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'll add it to the agenda as well.
Cool. So how, Toby, how do we move forward then? Like you're suggesting, what do we need to do?
Well, essentially, the board has come back to us to for having us to agree on this change. So given that we have agreed on a change that's exactly the same, we have already, my point is, like, we already have agreed to this.
Okay. So the board
If
can-
we, like, I don't know how specifically you want us to, because I mean, do we need to have I don't, like, we can just agree to this and then have it in the minutes. Is that sufficient for the board? Like, what does the board want?
Would it make sense to just write it up in an email or something? What they're agreeing to, or how does that work?
We can bring it in the next meeting, right? Is that the good step, next step? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the next meeting will be after the next board meeting, I believe, because the next board meeting is the 18th. Let's see.
Wait, who needs to vote first? Us or the board?
Well, I think what Toby's trying to say is we've already agreed to this, so the board.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if we've agreed, then it'll go to the board on the 18th.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
I mean, more specifically, just to be clear, I'm saying we agreed to something that is not exactly the same thing, but meaningfully the same.
okay, and this is what you want to document. So the question is, do you want us to circulate that screenshot that Ben just added to the issue in a CPC email? Or do you want to ask if there's anyone, if we have consensus in this call, then we're cool to move forward?
I mean, we have had this conversation in 1055 already, precisely about this 80% thing. And so I think if we agree today here, then we should just move ahead. I mean, I don't see a point to like, I mean, we've agreed on the topic like 4 times
agree.
already over the
I
last like
agree.
3 months. So,
More agreement
should-
here.
right. So as
Awesome.
long as the board is like, the board reps are happy to go back to the board saying, yes, we should just go ahead, then we should just go ahead.
Agreed.
Right on.
We're going ahead then.
All right. Let's, can we give some time if we've wrapped up that issue, can we go back to the top? Kylie's here to talk through.
I moved Kylie's issue to the bottom and we're almost there. So we'll just hold tight, Kylie.
Don't go anywhere.
No
Cool.
problem.
The next issue is, should we have a co-chair? I think we've already agreed, that would be great. We just need to put this in. It's bundled in 1055. So we will kind of move forward on all this stuff together, it seems. So I'm happy to help move that forward when we're ready to. Second to last issue is balancing privacy versus transparency for the travel fund. You know, I know we've talked about this a bunch. I think we talked about even doing, oh, Toby's got a good comment here 4 days ago. I guess there's been a bunch of comments the last few days. Ben, did you started this thread here? Does anybody want to update the group on where we're at? Toby, Ben, either?
I'm just
We had a
scrolling.
working session where like no one was there, and then like folks ended up there, and like we did a working session, and essentially that ended up being part of the working session, and we moved forward was some form of proposal, which then Ben outlined, and then we had a discussion about in that issue.
Great.
I don't know what the exact next steps are at this point, though. I don't have the issue like on hand.
I think the next step is probably on this one is me to essentially propose changes to the README, the instructions that we have on GitHub, and create the Google form, the intake form.
Yeah, and if we could document what that process will look like.
Yeah, that's the changes that the proposed changes I would be making to the GitHub instructions. That would be there.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool, great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that would be great. That'd be fantastic, Ben. All right. So maybe I'll even drop a comment in here. We are to implement this. Yay. Cool. And then once we get that, we can close this and we're rocking and rolling. All right. Next up, final thing on the agenda here. Kylie, this is issue 1128, updated OpenJS Foundation tiered marketing offerings.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thanks for waiting for me. I apologize for being a little bit tardy. So I opened an issue about our new tiered marketing offerings. Essentially, there's nothing new here, but we've put them kind of into more formal documentation, so folks can reference it and see, you know, how I can be of best service to you all, how Ben can be of help as well. Typically, it's just focusing mostly on the marketing, but Ben and Julian are also factors in all of that. So I apologize. My dogs are out of control today, and we're having electric work done on our house, so it's a little loud. So Robin, do you want me to share my screen and kind of quickly go through? Do you think that's the best method?
Yeah, be awesome.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Oops. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, hopefully y'all can see tiered marketing services.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Let's go into slideshow mode. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'll skip over some of these slides. This PowerPoint is linked in the issue if you'd like to check it out a bit more in depth. But as you all know, we have 3 different tiers of projects: incubation, at large, and impact. Specifically, this deck kind of focuses more on at large and impact. Incubation, we obviously support in a few ways, like getting them into our foundation officially. But marketing is really meant for the at large and impact projects. So this deck kind of talks about that a little bit. Some important reminders, marketing services and budget, like all projects are different. So we'll do different things for different projects, but you know, we can talk about it. I'm always happy to chat with you all on the phone if you have any marketing needs. And we are not here to run all the marketing for all the projects. I wish there were 3 more of me, but there's just not. And so I can only do so much, but we are here to serve as an amplification tool for you all, to make sure that you're getting community love, attention, all of that. Special note that I want to make is we obviously do run the Node.js social handles. It's a bit of a different case. We are not open to running all of the different project channels. That is not realistic, but I'm happy to amplify content or work with you on announcements and things like that. So please reach out if you have any questions. Also, our budget is a little bit on the smaller side, so we don't have unlimited money to support, but we will work with you to create the most impactful solution that we can. And a quick reminder that the majority of our staff is only 50% on OpenJS, as we are employees of the Linux Foundation. So I'm only 50%. I only spend half of my time working on OpenJS. So I can't do it all, but I do try. Ben and Julian are also 50%. Obviously, Robin is 100%, and she supports all of us and helps us delegate our time. Any questions before I move on? Okay. Also, if you have questions, you can just raise your hand and we can take a pause. All right, so tiering breakdown. As I mentioned, incubation projects will receive really limited support just because they're not officially a part of the OpenJS, and they're not an entity of our foundation. So legally, we can't, do a lot of stuff with incubation projects until they reach graduation. So if folks have questions about that, you can point them my way, or you can just reference like, hey, marketing services are specifically for at-large and impact projects. So we'll just skip over that one. But what I will do, I will do things still to help out, but I will do retweets, happy to do that. We always do an initial announcement of projects that join the foundation, and then we also do announcement for graduation. So we will amplify that, blog, social, etc. We'll also help the projects get through their checklist. So Ben and Julian are great at working with you all to get folks to the graduation stage. So just a few little things to show them some love, because we do think they're important and want them to move to at-large. Okay, so at-large, I don't really need to explain what that is to you all. But some things we'll do for at-large: social media content for milestones, announcements, progress made, things of that nature. I just recently released guidelines to host collab summits. If you or your project is interested in hosting a collab summit, I'd love to chat with you. We have some guidelines, and it's open to all of the at-large and impact projects. So there are some guidelines. Also, like I mentioned, we don't have unlimited budget, but we want to make sure that all of the collaborators have the chance to get together face-to-face and use that time to move their project forward. And then blog posts as well. Happy to work with you on writing the blog post, getting content amplified on our blog, and what that may look like for your announcement. They're all different. So we can chat about that when your time comes. Impact, obviously, impact gets the most benefit because there are larger projects. So of course, social and blog content are still going to be a thing here. And then impact projects also have the opportunity to host a Mastodon account on our LF server. Right now we have jQuery, Electron, and Node on Mastodon, all on our LF server. So I'm happy to set that up for impact projects. But otherwise, we are not opening that opportunity up to other folks just due to the sheer amount of projects we have. And then same thing, collab summits here, and then opportunities for participation in OpenJS events. And then we also have tooling available. So SurveyMonkey, I know we just did a survey for the Node project. that turned out really well, and then also limited website services too. So these are kind of just summaries. Obviously, when you have something you want to do, you can meet with me and we can figure out the best plan for the specific announcement or event. Behind the scenes, these are just some of our success metrics that Robin, myself, Ben, Julian, we all work towards, kind of our North Star when we do all this. But I kind of wanted to show you what it looks like in the background, in case you were aware of how the Linux Foundation is split up. So essentially, I am your liaison to the Linux Foundation. I work with creative, social, website, sales, demand gen, program management to ensure that I can get you all everything you need. So while I obviously work on a lot of things with you all, like writing and social amplification and other things that are communications focused, we do have all of these resources available to help us out with the project too. And we use them as needed, of course. These are just some of my tasks that I'm happy to help with. I won't go through all these, but if you're super curious, you can dig back into the slides in the GitHub issue. And then here are some things that our marketing budget does cover. In case you're also interested about that. I also won't go through all that either. Let me know your questions though offline. And then some resources. Obviously, you know all of us, but this is just a little bit about what we do. And things we focus on. Also says our percentages again, in case you need to reference. Guidelines, so I know you all are familiar with social amplification request guidelines, but the Collab Summit guidelines are here as well. So if you want to host a Collab Summit, click on that link, reach out to me, and we can work to set something up. And if you have questions, you know where to reach us. I think that is the end of my slides. Yep. So I'll take a pause here because that was a lot from me, and open up for any questions. And I'm also happy to chat with folks on Slack too, if you don't have one right now. Toby.
Toby?
I have just a small request, not a question. So if folks have questions, we should do questions first.
You go first.
Go ahead, Toby.
I actually found a copy of the 2019 version of this deck in the repository. It would be neat if you open the pull request was this one updating, well, I mean, removing the old one and putting that one instead. I like that we have it referenced in the right place.
I just commented in the issue as well. There's a project resources directory that we can direct folks for like infrastructure and marketing.
Yeah, happy to.
The deck that you presented is great with you presenting it. I don't know if you want to go through it and like add commentary so that if somebody reads it, it'll all make sense to them.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll save it there. And yeah, I can add a few comments for folks. I'm always happy to chat on Slack too, if there's any gray area. I'm so sorry, you guys. And Robin's available too. Robin is really my supporter on all of this. So she's happy to help as well.
Cool.
And
Yeah,
thanks for listening. Yeah, this will be on our YouTube channel, this meeting. So maybe we can cross-reference a link to when this link is in, and then we can timestamp when Kylie presents.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's fairly self-explanatory. I mean, I had read the deck when you send it. It's like fairly straightforward.
Thank you. I mean, that's the goal, right? For it to be as easy as possible for all of us. So thank you, Toby. But thanks for listening, and thanks for taking these guidelines to heart. And I'm happy to work with anybody to help amplify those projects. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, great job. Just one other quick note: if you do have a major milestone, give Kylie and team as much heads up as possible. So we can,
That's a great add-on, Robin. I love as much notice as I can get. The more notice I have, the more time and planning I can put towards your announcement. Smaller things like social amp, you can let me know usually a couple days before or the day before. Some of you ping me the day of, which is also fine for smaller things. But if it is like a blog post or something a little bit more hands-on, as soon as you can let me know and I can add it to our calendar, that is so appreciated. So thanks for bringing that up, Robin. I'm going to add that to the deck actually, because I think that's a good thing to reference.
yeah,
If you want help too, Kylie, getting the PDF up there and swapping it out, just let me know. I can do that real quickly.
Joe, I'll probably be in touch.
Cool. Great. So that kind of brings us to the end of our broadcast day here. One thing left is to figure out what we're doing for the working session next week. To me, it feels like obviously code of conduct work would be great to get done. But I also think like the representation stuff that we were talking about earlier would be good to make sure we have that all sorted and everything as well. So we can work on those kinds of things next week. That sound good? All right, cool. All right, well, with that, I'll let y'all go. Oh, Toby.
I'm sorry, I have a quick request from Sarah, actually. The open issue on collab spaces, which is number 1110, has a request of informing the board that we're planning to do this as a courtesy update before we, because it has charter implications. They're tiny, but the board will still need to approve it. So if you could just go ahead during the next call and let them know, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add it to the CPC slides for the next meeting.
Wonderful, thanks.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have things sort of lined up for them to, give the thumbs up too. Hopefully, right, Toby? All right, cool. Well, it's always fun. Nice to see you all, and see you in Slack and at the next meeting. Cheers, everybody.